Hello, I'm Crafty Patty. My last video, I was making the feathers and leaves out of yarn. And I did mention that there was a video coming up where I was going to use those feathers and leaves. So here we are. I created this wall hanging. I'm going to take you step by step. I'll show you how I put the doilies in the hoops, and then we'll go into showing you how to do the macrame fringe. If you want to know how to do the feathers, then please check out my video on how to make feathers and leaves with yarn. So keep watching. So every time I went to the thrift store, I would look for doilies. I mean, this little one here was only 50 cents. And all in different sizes. And then the next thing I'm going to do is find embroidery hoops that will fit these doilies. Then what you can do is grab yourself a piece of scrap paper, any type of glue. I'm just using the Gorilla Glue because that's what I've got on hand. And I'm picking up a few of my clips that I had on hand just from the dollar store. And what we're going to do is just grab one corner. I'll come on this side so you can see what I'm doing. Place a little bit of glue on the edge of your hoop. Find a corner and just tuck it over the edge. Apply your clip and hold it in place. Go around to the opposite side. Do the same thing. Apply a bit of glue and just make sure that you're directly across. We've got two, and there's our middle one. We're going to have to come a little bit further over. And carry on until you've got all your sides clipped on. And if you're using the Gorilla wood glue, it won't take long to dry at all, but just wait until it does. It will only take like probably not even a minute. And so let's just take one of these off, and it's already sticking to the wood, and that's all we need. It's just enough to give us some little bit of support so we don't have to lose the edges of the doily while we're putting on our outer ring. Get our outer ring and unscrew it as long as or as far as you can go. Let's open her up and place it on. I'm just gonna match up my screw with this one here just so it's aesthetically pleasing. Push it over. And now you know your doily is good and secure in there. And then tighten up your screw. And the easiest way of all is if you've got a hoop and a doily that's larger than your hoop. So what I'll do first is just add a little bit of glue to my inside ring. Place my doily over top, center it the best we can, open up your screw, and loosen your outer ring. Now just go around and tighten until you've got even spacing for your pattern all the way around. Now mine, I've got these little tiny flowers here, so I'm pulling those, so it's probably about, it doesn't really matter because your doilies are going to be different. They won't be probably the same as this one, but all you're doing is just even spacing and work your way around until you're happy with your placement. And once you're happy with your placement, tighten up your screw and then come over to your back side and cut off your excess. If you've got lots of doilies and you've got them all in your hoops, then how about we just place them on the wall just like this? It looks beautiful. But if you want to do further embellishments, then keep watching. If you want to hang your hoops from a piece of driftwood, then find a nice long piece of driftwood that will be long enough to fit the amount of hoops that you want to hang. Once you've decided on the piece of driftwood that you want, or a piece of dowel, that will dictate how you place your hoops. So this is the placement I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you how I join them together. I'm going to be joining my two hoops together right here. This is where the natural placement is, so this is where they're going to be together. I'm going to take about 1 meter or 1 yard of my yarn, thread it through my large-eyed darning needle, and then if you've got different doilies, that's fine, but just find holes you can go through. So obviously I've got a nice big hole on this side. I'll just lift it up and I'll come through the hole on the next doily on the other ring, and I'm just going to keep going around and around until it's good and secure and tight. I'll leave an end here so I can use it for tying. And let's just keep going around some more, coming up through a different hole or the same hole, it doesn't matter. Do that a few more times. Take off your needle, give it a nice tight pull, and then tie it just in a basic knot. And I'm going to have my knot so it forms off to the side here. And thread your needle again. And then take your loose ends, pop it through all of your rounds of sewn yarn, pull it down and through, give it a bit of a tug so you pull your knot down underneath, take off your needle, cut your ends, and you are nice and secure. Checking your placement with your piece of driftwood, and then come in and remember what your placement was for your other ones. So now I'll be sewing this together, these together, 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 and together. And I'm going to attach the middle ring to my driftwood first. I'm going to make sure it's centered, and then I'll attach this first. Then I'll see how it hangs on the wall, and then I will attach these two. And same thing as before, we're just going to go around the driftwood and into the hoop. Same thing, and get it attached. For the macrame fringe, I'm using a 3mm twisted macrame cord, and the one I'm using is Tosnail 3mm times 200, and you will need this whole ball, so do get the 200 meters. I'll leave a link in the description box below the video, so if you want to get this exact one, then I'll leave a link, and I did get this on Amazon. We've got 5 rows on the 12-inch hoops. We've got 3 rows on the 7-inch hoops. And here's a close-up for you. This is the Senate of square knots, and this is a row of half square knot spirals. This particular doily has nice big openings to get our fringe in and pass through our macrame cord, but if you don't have one with large holes and you have one like this, then what you can do is grab yourself a crochet hook, and if you're trying to get it through a hole that's quite small and it's difficult, you can always get a crochet hook and hook it in there and then pull it through the hole, and that will make it a lot easier for you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut 5 yards of cording, or 5 meters, it's close enough. And what I want you to do is offset it. So this strand here on the left is about 1 yard or 1 meter, and this one will obviously be about 4 meters long. So I'm going to take this again and pop it in the hole where you want it to be. I'm using my crochet hook to get it in there, and then once you've got it, we're going to pass it through with a lark's head knot. So these 2 strands are going to come through the loop. And we've now attached our first strand. We're going to make sure that the shorter one is to the middle. We're going to add another one right beside it, and again we're going to make sure we've got a shorter strand to the inside. Cinch these up nice and tight. Again, make sure that your 2 middle cords are the shorter ones. So let's start with a square knot. Left over the 2 middles, hold with your thumb. Right over, behind, hold with your right thumb and pull through. Cinch that up. We started on the left. We're going to do the right now, just to secure that first part, and then we're going to start doing our spiral. Okay, that's just a basic square knot. Now we're going to do half square knot spiral. So we're always going to start on the same side. So let's start on the left, over, behind and through. You started on the left, left again. Always starting on the left, and that's what's going to form your spiral. You can see how it's starting to turn. Now, if you want, you can just give it a little help, let it turn around. That's fine, as long as you always stay on the left. Left first, right over, behind, and through. Now we're going to make just a small portion of square knots. So I've cut each of these strands at 3 yards or 3 meters, close enough. And then what you're going to do is you're going to again offset it. When you put it in you're going to have your middle strand only measuring about 1 yard long, and your outside portion will measure about 2 yards long, or 2 meters. Again, your short ones are to the middle. So right now we're going to do square knots. Left goes over the middle, hold, right behind, through the loop, hold with your right, pull through. And now to the right, behind, pull through. Left, behind, pull through. And right, behind, pull through. And continue until that measures about 3 inches. Now remember how I said to do a spiral, you always start on the left. Well, you can tell you started on the left because your spiral is forming to the right. It's twisting to the right. But just for fun, let's start this one and always stay on the right. And you'll see how it looks just slightly different. Again, I've cut these cords at 5 yards or 5 meters long. I've offset it so my middle strand is only 1 meter long and the outside is 4 meters long. So let's start. I always like to start with 1 square knot because we just want to make sure that this is nice and secure at the top here. So we can pull it up nice and tight for that first square knot. Okay, now let's always go to the right. So right, over, left, behind and through. Another right. Starting on the right. Now, can you see the difference? When you start on the right, your spiral will go to the left. When you start on the left, your spiral will go to the right. And there's not a lot of difference, but just enough to give it a little bit of a different texture to have them turn different ways. So continue on and do this for 18 inches. So I will give you all the measurements for all the spirals going from left to the middle. And that will be exactly the same on the other side. And here's the measurements for all the square knot sennits starting from the left to the middle, and the same for the other side. So just come in and make a little loop over, and we're just going to pass those strands through the loop and cinch it right up, right below that last one, because you want that knot to sit right below that last square knot. And then just pull down on all your cords, make it nice and tidy. To unwind my cords, I'll just take one of them and then just unwind it the other way, come into it, and you can see that there's 4 cords in there. I'm just going to take my fingers and let them twist all the way down to the bottom. So now you've broken it into 2 sections, just unwind it again and do the same thing and let it unravel all the way down. And do the same with all of these strands. I'll see you probably in an hour at least. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it makes it look good. Once you've got it unraveled this far, if you want it to look even more fluffy, like this, then you can come in again with a hair comb, and brush it out some more. If you've got a cat or dog slicker with the fine wire like this, that works really well as well. So I'll just comb this out a bit more. And this is what my fringe looks like after brushing them out, and you can see that they're uneven now. So I'm just going to come back in and make a nice clean line on the bottom. I've now chosen to add some more embellishments, and I'm adding some of my yarn feathers that I've made in the last video I published. I will also leave a link in the description box below this video. And for those that don't know where to find that, it's that little tiny down arrow right to the right and below the video. Click on that and the whole description box will open up. Or it might say the words "show more." To add your feathers to your wall hanging, I've just put a piece of yarn through my top loop in my feather. I'm going to tie a very loose knot in my two ends here. And then I can come in and have it so the knots are down to the bottom of my leaf. Now I'm going to come in and use my lark's head to add it to my driftwood. So over and just pull your leaf or your feather through. You'll probably mess it up a bit, but we can comb it out. Now I want these ones to sit right up tight to my driftwood. So now I can take my loose knot and untie it. And then make sure it sits right up tight to my driftwood by just cinching it up. Then you can just come in with a comb and tidy up your leaf. I've added some more feathers hanging off the driftwood at the top, and I chose to add a few more feathers on the bottom on the fringe just to balance it a little bit more. I hope this has given you some great ideas to make your own beautiful wall hangings using doilies and macrame for your fringe. Well, you never know what Crafty Patty's up to. I don't even know what I'm up to next. So keep watching, hit that little bell to get your notifications, and we'll see you next time for another great video. Bye-bye.